Welcome to this Waitfire YouTube video where today I'll be unboxing a new game from Mantic Games, and that is called Here's Negan. So Here's Negan follows on from the story from the popular comic book series of The Walking Dead, and it follows on from this very first sort of prequel book, Here's Negan, and it sort of doesn't quite follow exactly what's in the comic book here, but it follows on after that, where they are trying to establish the sanctuary where the saviours stay, and that's obviously after that point is where they meet up with the Rick and the rest of his guys from The Walking Dead. And this is the game itself. So this is what the retail version, in fact there is only a retail version of this game. It's by Mantic Games, obviously it's licensed by Skybound. This is a board game. It actually complements their The Walking Dead All-Out War miniatures game, which has been out for a couple of years and was very successful on Kickstarter. But this is a straight-to-retail board game version, and it sort of fills in those gaps, and there will be some crossover as well to allow you to use some of the miniatures from this in All-Out War as well. So let's have a little look inside it and we'll see what the components look like. So here we have it, The Walking Dead Here's Negan, the board game by Mantic Games in association with Skybound. It's a really nice box, standard sort of stuff, but actually it's quite a good quality box, this one, nice and sturdy. You can see it on the reverse, all the components here. So you've got the board map, a number of plastic miniatures, PVC miniatures, some dice, and the character cards as well, obviously. And a lot of these mechanics, if you've played The Walking Dead All-Out War, you will recognise a lot of these features. What is really interesting about this one is that it plays in a reasonable time. 30 to 90 minutes is the listed time. Having played one of the demo games already at the Mantic Open Day, yeah, it's about right, about 30-40 minutes for the very first scenario, and that was with 4 or 5 players as well, so that was quite good. The other beauty about this is you can play it solo as well, so it's allowed to be played 1 to 5 players, and we'll certainly be doing a solo game at some point to show you what that plays out like. So let's have a little look inside. So we can see the usual quite durable card. So this is about 2mm thick, this card. These are various tokens, so these are sort of items that you have to grab in certain missions. These locks here are to lock rooms down, to secure parts of the sanctuary, because if you don't secure them, then Negan won't be very happy. We've got various other things, barricades. These are showing where walkers can come in from, and this is your threat tracker. Just look on the other side. These are health and bite marks, but otherwise it's the same sort of thing. Here's a second cardboard thing. These ones have fallen out, but you can see that these are sort of terrain pieces. These are to mark walkers that you haven't yet seen. So it's sort of a hidden deployment thing. It reminds me a little bit of Space Hulk, you know, the old Games Workshop game where you had things moving along in the background. You've also got these areas here. These I'm least happy with. These are closed doors. These just look a bit boring, to be honest. But apart from that, I mean, they're okay. I mean, this is what they look like, the door that side, and then you're meant to open them, and they go back the other side. They're fine, and it's just representing the floor, I think, but they're not the most exciting bit. And then you can see here on the other side of these walker tokens, you can see 3 different coloured dice, or some of them are blank. So what that means is that when you flip over and reveal what this walker marker is, you then roll the coloured dice, and that will tell you how many walkers it represents. So it might be none if it's blank, or actually even the red and the white dice actually have a blank side on them anyway, so you could end up having no walkers despite rolling a dice. The blue dice will always have at least 1 walker on it, and potentially up to 3. So it depends how many are going to be revealed when you flip the marker. So that's quite an interesting thing. Not only are you could be hanging back because these markers are there, and actually when you get there, there's no walkers there at all. It was just rats making a noise. Okay, so that's quite a nice feature. Inside we have some miniatures. We'll look at those in a little bit of detail in a moment. They're coloured, so we've got 2 bags of green ones. These are the walkers. And then we've got grey ones, which are your sort of, well, heroes probably isn't the right word, but your characters. We have a few other things here, these are just bags to hold your bits in. These are just things, that's for the threat dial. These are for reputation, which is sort of like a way of deciding who's won the game or who's progressing well in the campaign. The rules, of course, so we'll look at those in a moment. Again, with some really nice art, and there's comic book images dropped in throughout as well, so it really keeps the theme nice and strong. We have some reference cards, which are the characters. We'll look at those again in a moment. We have the terrain tiles. There's a whole bunch of these. They're double-sided, so it looks like there's plenty of options here. They all are square, but what they do have is they have some thick bordered lines on them. So these represent rooms. So you can see there's a blanked out one here. So this is like a corridor. So yeah, they're really quite nice, detailed. They're about 3mm thick, these, so they're pretty thick things. So this one, for instance, there's a T junction here, 2 rooms either side. I think when I played my demo game, this is where my character Dwight got killed. Yeah, about there, in fact. But yeah, they look very nice, quite sturdy. There is a plastic tray, which seems to be the right size to hold all the components, which is not always the case for these sort of games. A series of dice, white and red there. And we have 2 sets of cards. These are event cards, so we'll look through those in a bit. Try not to give any spoilers away. And then we have supply cards as well. So I think there's some other cards in here as well, but we'll look at those in a moment when we open them up. Great. So let's have a look at some of the cards. These are the supply cards. So these are various different things that you might find when you find those supply catches that we saw before. So this is a handgun, for instance, to give you a white dice to shoot with, a grenade, factory blueprint, so there'll be some way of helping you achieve your missions, metal plow, sledgehammer, fire axe, wrench, weapons, knives, lucky charms, so a whole bunch of different stuff that'll be of benefit to you as you're trying to achieve Negan's goals and be his favourite. Right, so that's supply. The other small cards that we have are these room cards. So these tell you what's in each room. When you open up a door to a room, you'll be able to see. So this one, you can see it's dead or inside. You get a supply token, but also a number of walkers. And the number of walkers depends where you are on that threat dial. So you can see that you roll different dice based on how high your threat is. The higher it is, the more likely there are to be walkers having been attracted to the noise and hiding out in that room. And there's a number of different, again, riled up walkers, some fire, sanctuary, collapsed wall, so a whole bunch of different things again. The third set of small cards that you get are Negan Actions. So Negan in this game, nobody plays Negan. He is like an NPC. You're all trying to impress him. So you are his lieutenants, or lieutenants if you want, and you are trying to do stuff to keep him sweet. But sometimes you need him to help you, and sometimes he gets just riled up anyway. So let's have a look. So you've got certain cards here, plenty for all of us, let Lucille protect you. So if he comes and helps just mess in, so if he comes to help you out, he's a really good fighter, but he doesn't want to do that. He wants to be just sort of led into the sanctuary. So if he comes and does something for you, you may well lose some reputation, as it says on this one. So he moves 3 spaces. Any survivors, let's have a little closer look, sorry. Try and get so there's lights on it. Yeah, there we go. So you can see that he moves forwards, but you will lose a white dice worth of reputation. So reputation is how you win the game, so you don't want to lose that if you can help it. Then we've got one set of larger cards. These are events. So every round you will draw an event card. Okay, and these are things that will sort of tell you what's going on. So cry for help, noise in the dark, Herds, this would increase your threat, see here. And these are quite similar to the cards from Mantic Games, The Walking Dead All Out War. So it's similar in style, I mean, by increasing the threat here. So if you're familiar with that, you'll see a lot of the same mechanics. Obviously the dice mechanics that we showed, I showed you the dice before, are exactly the same as well. So walkers fight in the same way and characters fight in the same way. And we'll see that on the character cards in a second. Then we have a few oversized cards. So we have a reference card, which is Negan's reference. So it tells you how much strength he has. So Negan can get injured and killed. So you don't want it to happen, of course, because that is going to be very bad for you, because you'll lose the game. He's also got a couple of other things here. So what he does with action cards, his Negan's Rage, sort of a rules clarification for you, a quick reference sheet. And then you can put his active card here. Some of them will remain in play for a bit. You've got a Walker reference card, so again this just shows you how the walkers are working this time, and you can put the active event card on here, a bit like a discard pile. And then we get on to the lieutenants themselves. So there are 5 lieutenants available. We've got Laura. She has the best weapon with a automatic rifle and a knife. This is her stat profile. This is how she fights, shoots and defends. So these are the colour dice. Red are the worst, white are the next best, and then blue is the best of them all. So you can see when she shoots, she uses a blue dice here, but she also uses the white dice that's down on this weapon. And if she fights, she uses a red and then a red one for the knife here. Now obviously you can change these as you go through the missions. There is a campaign element to it, so you might well improve your knife to something a bit better. They all have a special action as well, so she has resourceful, so that will allow her to do certain things differently, and each of the characters has their own one. We've got Tara. She is a good fighter and a good defender, but doesn't have a weapon to shoot with. We've got John, who is the sort of beast of fighting. He fights really well on a white dice, defends really well, and has another white dice for his crowbar. Okay. And then we've got Dwight. Everyone recognises Dwight. He gets the crossbow, of course, so that doesn't create any noise when he shoots. That's quite important because it doesn't draw walkers towards you, and he can shoot really well. He can also move faster than anybody else, so that's quite handy as well. And then you've got Sherry, who's Dwight's girlfriend in the comics, and she has a pistol and she can shoot reasonably as well. So she's another very strong character. So there are 5 characters there in total. So the miniatures, here we go. So if you've played The Walking Dead All Out War, you'll recognise these miniatures because they are exactly the same ones. There are a bunch of the sort of base ones that you get in the core set. I think they're probably all from the core set actually. So you're not getting any new sculpts if you're used to that one. But if you've not got them, of course, then these are great because they're all individual sculpts. There's not a single repetition here. So, and they're all very nice models, and because they're coloured, you don't even need to paint them. But they do paint up very well indeed, these PVC models, and you can do a lot with them actually. They're really quite good. So that's what the walkers are. You get 10 of those, I think it is. 5, 10, oh 11. 11 models. 11? Really? No, 12. There we go. I can't count. 12. So, let's have a look at the real ones we want. So let's have a look at our anti-heroes, as it were. This is Negan. He is pretty nasty. He's got Lucille there in his hand and a rifle with a scope over his shoulder. That's just for look, of course. In his classic white tee. We actually get Lucille itself. So this Lucille is used as an initiative marker essentially. So it shows who's the active player at each time, so you just pass this around by round. We've then got the various different characters. We've got John, looking pretty beefy there with his crowbar. We have Dwight, so he's very nice. He's got his a knife out and his crossbow on his back. We've got Sherry here. Just put my hand there so you can see it better. Firing her pistol. Just check the names of these last ones, I forget these ones. We've got Tara with her knife out ready to attack you. Looks really good. For some reason she hasn't pulled her jeans up, but that's okay. Style is still important even in the apocalypse. And then we have Laura, who's the one with the submachine gun. So again, very nice models, very high quality as well, PVC, but they do paint up very well. And if you're used to the Walking Dead miniatures from All Out War, then that's exactly the same quality you're getting. Right, finally, let's look at the rule book. Okay, so nice and glossy, 40 pages long, so a decent amount in here. I'm just going to cover it fairly briefly. It says component list, so you can check if there's anything missing, of course. And then we've got the basic rules. So it tells you how many players are, tells you how to pass the initiative with Lucille, explains the cards themselves, tells you about Negan, of course. Nice little bit of art from the comic series scattered throughout, and some examples of painted miniatures. Shows you how those walker tokens work, how you roll for attacks, and then it gives you a sort of walkthrough of a setup. So it explains what I talked about before, about how rooms are segregated by these black lines, which they've shown here in a nice clear white line. So you can see very clearly where models are allowed to go and not. And obviously this allows a lot of freedom when it comes to designing each scenario, because you can put down those doors I talked about before to show. See where the doors are put there, so you can put those doors anywhere really, so it gives you a lot of variation in what you can do with those tiles, and there's quite a lot of tiles anyway. So a few gameplay mechanics telling you how models move, how walkers will move in response. Tells you how the threat dial works. This is a very similar mechanic to those who've played All Out War. Same for noise as well, and tells you the sort of actions that you can do. So you can do actions like moving, shooting, attacking, or you can actually call for help from Negan. So that's something you might need to do in certain circumstances when it gets very desperate. He won't take kindly to that if you do it too often, but it's something else you can do here, because Negan is, like I said, an NPC where he comes and helps out. Also, it shows you how to sort of deal with things within rooms and how to secure them, which is why it shows you here. And that depends on how easy it is to secure a room, is determined by how high the threat is. So if the threat level is really high, you've caused a load of noise, a load of walkers around, it's harder to secure a room properly. So you can try and keep that threat under control by spending an action pushing it down. And that's quite handy. And if you were all to work as a team, that would be amazing. But one of the things about this game that is really good is that only one person can be Negan's favourite. I think we all know it's Lucille who's his favourite, but there's only one character who can be Negan's favourite. So you might want to work together at certain points, but at other points you might not want to work together. You might want to actually stab your colleagues in the back. And so therefore it's quite an interesting mechanic, because no one's playing Negan, you're all playing individual people, and you each want to get the most reputation as you can. And I'll just show you on a card again what reputation is. It's marked here on the side from 0 up to 20, and the amount of reputation you get will determine if you win the scenario. If you complete the objectives, then you will win, which you've got the most reputation. So it's not just a case of achieving the objective. So actually you might even get to a point where you want to delay achieving the objective because you want to gain more reputation, or you want to get rid of someone else who is perhaps higher up in the reputation than you are. So that's a really interesting way of playing. And you can see here, so it's setting up a game. Tells you how many survivors to use in each game, how to sort of win and lose here. And now we start getting into the scenarios. So I'm just going to show you these very basic ones first. I'm not going to show you any more because I don't want to give any spoilers away. But you can see here that there is a quite straightforward linear scenario where you start on one side and you get to the other. And Negan is there with you all the way along. And these are the rooms you would have to secure as you went across each way. And you know, quite straightforward, but you can see already, even on the second mission, that you're getting much larger maps and there's a lot more differences. But I won't show you any more on that. Suffice to say that there are a total of 12 scenarios, which is quite a lot for one game, of course, and I'm sure it'd be easy to make others as well. And then there's a little bit more about here, the campaign element as well, right at the end of the book, and a quick reference sheet at the back. So that is Here's Negan, the rulebook, for Here's Negan, the board game. So yeah, looks pretty good. I hope you like that. So I hope you like that unboxing of Here's Negan by Mantic Games. It'll be available for retail at the beginning of December 2018, so you should be able to get it in time for Christmas from online stores, direct, or from your friendly local gaming store. I'll be running some videos of how to play over the course of time as well, and please check out our other videos and like, comment and subscribe. But thank you very much for watching, everyone. Take care.